the dance is your intention.
Intention.
Right?
That's right.
So if I'm dancing with my grandmother, it's not going to be the same way that I'm dancing with my wife.
Is there such a thing as inappropriate on the dance thing? She can do whatever she wants, but in my club, plasters are not allowed. Do you think older guys shouldn't lead sensual moves to younger girls?
Making it more of a partnership rather than a dictatorship. So if you're just teaching moves with no context of the music, you're not teaching dance.
Hello, everybody. Rasa the Dancer is here, and I welcome you once again at my podcast, The Rasa Show. I know, Rasa the Dancer and then The Rasa Show, but here we are. Now, I have an amazing guest with me, and I'm super happy that my friend, well, I like to call him my friend. I don't know whether he thinks I'm his friend, but Pierre Henry is here. Now, very quickly, for me, he's first of all a friend, a colleague. He's also a bachata dancer, salsa dancer, teacher. He plays instruments, he DJs, he does so many things. But for me, he's one of those people that when I go dancing or when I go teaching, if I see that his name is there and his face is there, I know I will have a good time. So that's what you are to me.
Oh.
But for the people, what do you think they should know about you from a professional side? What would you like them to know about you?
Okay, so my name is Pierre. I've been dancing, teaching for about 20 years, salsa and bachata and DJing. But my music side of things started long before that. I grew up in a musical family and I was sort of playing instruments from about the age of 8 years old. I played guitar, bass, drums. I used to be in rock bands when I was younger.
Rock bands?
Yeah.
Like hardcore rock or?
Nah, soft rock, a bit Bon Jovi, White Snake, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, so we used to go around gigging at weekends. And I was also DJing at sort of house parties, weddings and stuff. And so my music career was long before my dancing career. I only got into dancing when I was sort of 27, 28.
How did you actually? I said he's my friend, but I know nothing about him. how did you? This is off topic. How did you start actually dancing? But then, how did you start teaching?
Okay, so how I started dancing was the very common story that my girlfriend dragged me along to a salsa class, and we were dancing, and I loved it. I took to it straight away. The teacher sort of said that I had natural rhythm, but that made my girlfriend a bit jealous, and then she stopped taking me to the classes. So then when we broke up, I continued dancing, and I met another girl there called Zoe, and she was a professional dancer. She studied dance in college. She danced tap, ballet, modern jazz, and she was learning salsa at the same time that I was learning. And like one of the first things that she did was I led her for a double spin, and she elbowed me under the chin, knocked me out flat on the floor.
Side.
Yeah, she literally knocked me off my feet. And then, like after a few years, we opened up our own club together, and she was the main teacher, and I was her assistant. So she was the one who actually knew how to teach, and I was shadowing her as a teacher for a couple of years. So she'd do all the talking, and I'd just stand there looking pretty. But yeah, so she wanted me to be in there because I was the DJ, so I was playing the music and stuff and acting as her partner for the classes. But yeah, that's how we got into it, and that was in 2004. And we were running classes in Croydon for about 8 years until we had kids.
Let's not skip a part. They got married.
We got married.
Okay,
yeah.
So she wasn't just a woman who elbowed him and then they were teaching together.
Yeah, we got married.
He actually fell in love. Dun, 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 and 2 kids later. 2, right?
Yeah, 2 kids later.
That are dancing now as well.
Yeah, dancing, DJing.
Performing. It's crazy.
Yeah.
The whole family.
The whole family's involved. So.
Nice. Anything else professionally?
Uh,
So I interrupted you.
no, not really. It's just I was a musician before I was a dancer, and like that very much shapes the way that I approach dancing and teaching. So I'm not the best dancer in the world. Like there are plenty of dancers who are better than me. They have much better lines than I do. But everything that I do it comes from the music. So I'm not really interested in doing all the sort of flashy moves and everything else. I just want
But you're
to
a great
feel and
teacher.
connect with the music. Yeah.
What you teach, and your teaching is phenomenal.
Thank you very much.
You're actually educating people.
Mm,
You know?
Thank you. That's what I try to do. Anyway. Yeah. Yeah, well, again, that's part of my background as well, because I was a teacher as well. I used to teach IT. I've taught music. I've taught people how to play guitar. So, like combining all of those things, the music, the dancing, the teaching. I was even into martial arts. So, again, that sort of helps with the body awareness and the breaking down movements and that type of thing. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, all of those things mixed together.
Well, what I was thinking in this podcast, because this guy been around for a long time, I really didn't want to just have one subject and just talk to him about that. I thought I want to spice it up and maybe do different kinds of topics. So what I did,
I'm scared.
I stalked him on his Facebook page.
That was your first mistake.
The reason I did it is because you're very active on it. So he has a reputation of actually voicing his opinions on Facebook. And there's always people having a lot of things to say about the things he says. But I think he goes more from, he thinks about a subject, he thinks about what he actually believes in, then he puts it out there to see how the public responds. Like, what is other people idea about it, right?
It's kind of like, I see myself as like sort of social commentary. So being a DJ, I get to sit there and watch what's happening on the dance floor. And like, as I'm watching what's going on, I'm thinking, oh, okay, I can talk about that. And so you spot trends that are happening. And you spot like behaviors and
you get to see funny things.
Yeah, it's all great.
So I picked some of the things from the post that I saw and placed it as a question that we can discuss. But also I actually asked some of my followers on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube, and some people had questions as well. Okay. So it's going to be a really mixed bag, but basically I got some of these things here. So you're going to pick. Okay. But I'm going to read it because it's in handwriting and I don't think you will understand what I wrote.
Okay.
But you get to pick. So pick the first thing you're going to be talking about.
Let's go from the bottom. There you go.
All right. So, you see what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
Okay. So the first thing that we would like to ask you. Oh, this is from one of the people. There we go. What can I do to make classes more safe and happy? So probably it's from one of the teachers or maybe one of the people who goes to classes and ask for the teachers. But basically the idea is probably somebody's running classes and they want to make sure that they're doing the right thing, keeping them safe and happy.
Yeah.
Any pointers?
Well, I mean, the most important thing is to make sure that the people in your class feel comfortable. So you want to make sure you break the ice with them. You want to make sure that you have control of the class. A lot of the times, like newer teachers, they come in, they don't have control of the class. The people are talking amongst themselves, and like it creates an environment where people aren't listening to the teacher. And if you haven't got control of the class, then you can't make it safe for everyone. So the first thing that you have to do is learn how to control the class, learn how to keep their attention, learn how to stop their minds from wandering. Like if you talk too much, again, they're going to switch off. They're going to start looking elsewhere. They're going to start thinking, what do I need to go shopping for? And all this sort of stuff. So you want to make sure that you keep their engagement, keep things moving. And then like the language that we use in classes, it's changed a lot over the last 10 years. So where it was before, we used to talk about men and women. We're now talking about leaders and followers. So the language that you use is important as well for making people feel included and safe
So
and
do you
respected.
think we should, because that's another debate on itself, right? Should we use lead and follow, or should we use guys, girls, men, women?
I I have no problem with using leaders and followers. I admit that sometimes I do say men and women, but like I've got no problem with leaders and followers because, like, as you know, you're a teacher and you often teach from a leading perspective.
That's right.
So you're not a man, you're a leader. So I've got no problem with using leaders and followers because that is a reflection of what the current situation is. So when you have women leading, you have men following.
But but I would never get insulted if I'm in a class and I'm leading and somebody says like, okay, men should do this, women should, I would never get insulted. Would you?
Me personally, no. I wouldn't be insulted by that.
What about if the night is super packed, right? It's one of the busy nights. How to make those kind of nights safe for everybody?
When it's a really, really busy night, it is difficult. But especially when you've got a mixed level of people in that class. So when you have that sort of situation, you want to make sure that you're teaching things which are appropriate for that environment. So if you have mixed age groups, mixed abilities, all in one big class, then you don't want to be teaching moves where you're bending your follow over or putting them into cambrés or making them like dip down to the floor. You want to teach moves that are safe for everyone, safe and comfortable for everyone. And that is difficult in the current environment. Like everyone goes to classes, they want to learn all the cool moves, they want to learn the head rolls, the body waves, and everything else. But you can make a class interesting without having to do all of that.
I agree.
In my opinion, it's a bit lazy to say, "Oh, we have to teach body rolls because that's what people want." You don't have to teach body rolls. You can teach bachata. You can teach like footwork. You can teach turn patterns.
You have to be a versatile dancer.
Yeah, and a versatile teacher to do it.
Yeah.
So it's about reading the crowd. You want to be able to look around and pay attention to what's going on in the classes. And if people are looking uncomfortable, if people are struggling with moves, then you need to adapt to that. Maybe scale it back a bit, maybe go in a different direction. Say, okay, look, this isn't working. Let's try something else. But don't be afraid to do that. But if you walk into the class with a predefined routine set, then you can't adapt. So,
and that's what makes you a great teacher. All right. Next question. Pick a piece of paper. This is two. There you go. Pick for you. Okay. Well, this is already answered, but you can actually say it one more time. Another person is asking, do you play any instruments?
Yeah, no.
Clearly they didn't do their research before asking this question.
No, like I said, I started off as a musician. So I started off playing guitar because my dad played guitar, and I actually started off by playing guitar in the church choir. And then I got into playing bass, got into playing drum kit, playing piano, because I was in various different bands, and like guitarists, there were tons of them. You just throw a stick and you hit a guitarist. So I had to learn to play other instruments to fit in with the band. But yeah, it was all sort of in the sort of pop rock genre, those type of instruments.
Do you have a favorite instrument?
Guitar, easily.
Guitar.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's why I like bachata, because bachata's all guitars. So.
I heard him also play the guitar a few times on the stage as well. It was Quite fantastic. You did a little thing with those bunnies as well, didn't you?
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was playing was it bongos or drums?
It was playing the conga.
Conga.
Yeah.
And what's the difference between conga and bongo?
Conga is a big, bongo
Congas,
is little.
this is bothering you, isn't it? Congas are big.
Yeah, conga is a floor standing.
And bongos
bongo is
are
you play
smaller.
between your knees, yeah.
Well, there you go. I've learned something.
There you go.
All right. Oh, from another person asking, any advice for retired attendees? So I think it's more to do with there's a lot of older people now in the scene and they see a lot of young people, disproportionately probably younger people, especially in bachata. Mm-hmm. So I guess he's asking for advice on how to navigate the situation.
Again, it is tricky, especially in the sensual bachata scene, because the sensual bachata scene is very young.
Do you think older guys shouldn't lead sensual moves to younger girls?
I'll tell you a story.
Because a lot of guys, like, they actually come to me, I'm like, I feel weird doing it. Well, even though it's a dance, we keep saying it's just a dance. It's supposed to be just a dance. If you cannot do it to your mother, you shouldn't do it to somebody. But, we say it, but it is what it is.
Well, because the universities, right? They have an annual boat party. Mm-hmm. And me and Daniel Chong, we were DJing on the boat party. Mm-hmm. And so, of course, we had to dance with all the people there. And I was dancing with one girl. She was like, "Oh, you're amazing. How long have you been dancing?" I was like, "Oh, about 24 years. She was like, "Yeah, I'm 21. So I was like, "Okay, let's finish this dance." Yeah, no, sometimes it does feel weird, but it doesn't have to feel weird. It's like I can dance sensual bachata with my daughter.
Yeah.
Right? She loves dancing sensual bachata. She dances, she comes to congresses, she comes to festivals, she dances with all the teachers, and it can be respectful. It doesn't have to be sexual. Like, people say that, but if you can't dance it with your grandmother, then it's not bachata. That's a load of rubbish, right? Because the dance is what you make it. The dance is your intention. Right?
That's
so
right.
So if I'm dancing with my grandmother, it's not going to be the same way that I'm dancing with my wife.
That's right.
So you bring different things to different dances. It's the same dance, different intention, different energy. So, yeah. But for retired people, again, you can enjoy it just as much as anyone else. I know a lot of older ladies, they don't necessarily like all the bending over, the cambrés, the head rolls, and everything else. And I think that's something that younger dancers need to be aware of. So when you're dancing with, if you're a young guy dancing with an older lady, maybe, then think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Think about she's 50 years old and you're asking her to bend down to the floor. Some older ladies, they'll love that. Okay. I'm not going to say that they can't do it, right? But just be mindful of who you're dancing with.
And you can tell. You start dancing, you do few basic things, and you can tell immediately whether that person can do it or even enjoys doing it.
Yeah.
And then you can okay, let me go a little bit more.
Yeah.
So you build up to it. Yeah. You don't just go surprise.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, this is something that we were talking about a while ago, and it's as a leader, you have to learn to follow your follower. So when I'm leading, I'm never so committed to doing a move that I can't change it at the last second, right? So if I give my partner a prep for a move and I feel that she's not ready to do that move, I can change it in that instant to do something else.
Abort.
Well, it doesn't even have to be able to abort it. That prep, I have several possibilities to come out of that prep. Mm-hmm. And the goal is not to do the prep and say, "Oh, you don't know that move, let's do something different." If I do the prep and you don't respond how I'm expecting you to respond, I'm going to do something else, and you won't know that I've chosen to do something else. I'm just responding to your body language based on the conversation that we're having together. So that part of leading is learning how to follow.
Yeah.
And again, I think that comes from like my martial arts background, because when you're fighting someone, you can't just go in with a pre-programmed set of moves that you want to do. You've got to adapt to what your partner's doing.
So true.
Right? So you get that idea of tracking your partner through space and understanding how their body is moving and how to respond to that. So I'm using those skills from fighting in dancing. So,
well, and your wife hit you with the elbow, so there you have it.
Yeah, I missed that one. Yeah. Should have blocked that one. Yeah.
All right, next one. Doing good so far. Nothing too dodgy. What kind of underwear you want? No, joking. Just joking, people. My goodness. All right, this is, do you think people should be able to wear anything they want? Is there such a thing as inappropriate? On the dance scene. Not like in the street, just in general.
Okay, so people should feel free to wear whatever they want, right? Especially women. Women can wear whatever they want. Guys can wear whatever they want. But there's a time and a place, right? So
whatever they want.
Yes, they can wear whatever they want, but you have to be mindful of the image that you're projecting, right? And
you should be okay with the response you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot say that you cannot look at my
boobies
if you only have plasters on them.
Yeah. Well, we've seen a few videos like that recently. And
because I'm looking.
It's a questionable choice.
I might even point.
Yeah, I mean, and you know people are talking about that.
Do you know
person,
what I mean?
Right? So it's not that they can't wear whatever they want, but my question is, why did you wear it?
Some sort of psychological things going on in their head. But if that person comes, like, let's say you're married, right? And there's a woman with big bazookas and just plasters on them.
Yeah.
And she comes, can we dance bachata, please?
It's happened.
But would you be more mindful of the moves you do? Or you would just pretend that it's a normal day at the office?
Well, I mean, that I wouldn't necessarily be mindful, but like, because like some girls, they're wearing like really short skirts, right? And you see guys bending them over.
Yeah.
And you can see what they had for breakfast.
Yes.
You know? It's like, yeah, so if a girl's wearing a short skirt, I'm not going to bend her over because that's respecting her dignity. But like if she's wearing a see-through top, then okay, that's what she wants to wear. I might question why she's wearing that, but it's up to her what she wears. But you can't deny that it's going to make some people feel uncomfortable. It's going to make some people feel, and I know this is going to sound wrong, but it's going to make guys think that they can behave a certain way with you. Right?
Absolutely.
So if you're wearing something that exposes your breasts, like, and you're just wearing the nipple plasters or whatever, then you're going to attract a certain type of guy to dance with you.
100%.
Right. And again, like people get very upset when you say that because they're like, oh, it's victim blaming. The girls should be able to wear whatever they want. But the reality is that that's what's going to happen. You're projecting a sexual image of yourself, and that's what you're going to attract to you.
Yeah.
In terms of leaders.
I always say, listen, I agree with you completely. And I'm all for people wearing what they want, but I'm quite conservative. I'm said it many times on my videos. Not okay with the plasters. If I would have a night and she would come with plasters, I wouldn't let her in.
Fair enough.
It's like there are, like you go to certain clubs, they require long pants.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing for me. It's like, it's not even about whether she can or cannot. She can do whatever she wants. But in my club, plasters are not allowed. Because for me, that's nudity.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
Yeah. No,
Instagram is censoring now, certain things.
Yeah.
I would censor my club. You're not allowed to come in with plasters. I don't want to dance with plasters. I just don't. I don't want her to be.
No, it's true.
And I always think this way. I am a woman and I like men. This is important for the conversation. So when I look at the woman with the plasters and I cannot stop looking, I can only imagine what the guys are thinking.
Yeah.
Because the things I'm thinking. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah. No, it's true. But yeah, no.
Is there an equivalent to plasters for the guys?
For the guys, well, I
Is
mean,
that, because we're talking about now just the woman. Is there
there are
an inappropriate guys?
there's some guys that are going to walk around with like bare chests. Some guys are going to take their tops off in the middle of a nightclub.
But 9 hours in dancing, I don't see guys taking off the tops. I only see guys that wear those t-shirts that show nipples.
No, there are guys that take off their tops.
Really? While dancing?
We know them.
Actually, now that you say this, I know exactly who
and you know who I'm talking about too. You know who I'm talking about.
Stop it. Stop it. We're going to call you plasters too. Next time you do it, I'm going to come with the plaster and just plaster. I think that would be fair. Huh?
Yeah. And there's some guys that sort of wear either very tight or very loose pants, which leave nothing to the imagination.
Never good loose. You should always have tight underwear if you're wearing something loose.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah. It goes
What was the question? What were we talking about?
Inappropriate.
Perfect. Okay, thank God. Because I'm enjoying this conversation right here. All right, what's the future holding for us next?
Is that one or two?
Two. All right. What are the opportunities for middle-aged bachata sensual dancers to enjoy social dancing? Strangely grammatically put together. So I guess this is again somebody talking about the fact that they're middle-aged, but they want to dance sensual bachata. What are their opportunities?
Should I feel offended at the moment? We've had two questions about old people dancing. Do you know what?
We did have a plaster's conversation. That's kind of hip. Or is it? We still said no. I said I'm banning them, so I don't know what that says about me.
No, you know what? I went to Estonia a couple of weeks ago. Well, a few weeks ago. And I taught some classes out there. And then I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see an advert in Estonian. So I had to translate the advert. And basically it was a picture of me and they were saying, it doesn't matter what age you are, you can dance with I think I'm getting a compliment.
I think that's your Estonian fans now,
Maybe.
sending you messages. But you believe that middle-aged have opportunities.
No, I'm a middle-aged person and I'm dancing sensual bachata. There's a lot of especially the first generation teachers, they're getting to the sort of 45, 50 mark.
Yeah.
And they're still dancing bachata. So there's no reason why anyone can't dance.
Well, I remember I'm not middle-aged, but I remember actually going to this Congress and I'm going into the room, whatever, and I'm dancing and then standing there for a second. And it was the first time ever that I thought I'm the oldest one here. I actually had that moment and suddenly I felt so naked. I felt so like, oh, interesting. And, I'm doing all the same moves as all of the 18 or whatever, but So I felt like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then young guys coming towards me, and like, hello, how you doing? And I'm like, running away.
It's all good. As long as you're happy and as long as you're comfortable with your partner,
Yes.
then it's all good.
I like what you said before. It's the intention, right?
Yeah.
It's what intention you bring to the dance. It really is. All right. More middle-aged questions.
I'm gonna walk out of here with a
Oh,
complex.
it's hilarious. Okay. Which dance more complicated? Salsa, bachata, or kizomba?
Okay, so the salsa, hands down, winner, because salsa, there is so much to know, right? Because salsa is not just one dance. Salsa is an umbrella term for numerous dances, numerous rhythms. So you've got all the different styles. You've got your on one, you've got your on two, you've got your crossbody, you've got your Cuban, you've got your casino, you've got your son, you've got your mambo, you've got your pachanga, you got your orishas, you've got all of these different things all under the salsa umbrella. So if you think you know everything, you are sorely mistaken. So in terms of the amount of stuff to learn, salsa wins hands down. I don't know enough about kizomba to say. I'm still using the same 5 kizomba moves that I learned 15 years ago. So that's about as far as my kizomba knowledge goes. But bachata again, there is a lot to learn in terms of like going back to the history, the culture, the music, and understanding where the dance came from, how it evolved inside the Dominican Republic, outside the Dominican Republic, how the influences came into Dominican bachata, bachata moderna, how bachata moderna became bachata moderna, how moderna turned into sensual, and like it's almost going full circle now, especially with the music. Like in the music, there are sections in the music which are more suited to traditional style with the footwork and the body movement and everything else. Then you've got sections which are more so suited to moderna with the turn patterns. You've got breakdown sections like intros, which are more lyrical, maybe more hip hoppy. You've got trap. A lot of the modern bachata is a fusion of very different styles. So although it's still a bachata composition as a whole, there are plenty of different sections within the music to express other genres and styles. So to get that mix right is very difficult. You find that people are dancing lyrically when they should be dancing bachata-ly, or dancing bachata-ly when they should be dancing lyrically. So getting that mixture of feelings, flavors, and sentiments in every song, it's a different level of thinking. Whereas if you go and dance salsa, you're dancing salsa.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I agree. I think salsa is much more complicated. And I only say this because I dance both. And it's with salsa till this day, I'm like, I know nothing.
Yeah.
Compared to, you know.
I know a very, very small subset.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right, monsieur. The ball's getting skinnier. That's right. Let's see.
I'm scared.
So am I. What are the most important etiquette rules on the dance floor that not enough people talk about? So etiquette on the dance floor that not a lot of people talking about, and you think more people should talk about.
I've done a few like posts on this recently.
I know.
And it's a lot of the classes at the moment are very focused on technique. So how to lead moves, how to execute moves, how to use your body correctly, especially with sensual bachata, how to do your head rolls, how to do your body waves, how to lead them, how to follow them. But dancing is more than that. So we're giving people a lot of moves, but we're not telling them how to use them, when to use them, who to use them with. So if you're learning a bunch of waves and head rolls and everything else, and that's all you do, you are very limited as a dancer in terms of the songs that you can dance to and the people that you can dance with. So part of the etiquette is teaching them when to use those moves, when in the music, what energies of music, what subgenres of music, who to use them with. Because like in bachata at the moment, you have a lot of people doing different styles. So you have people who prefer Dominican bachata, people who prefer bachata moderna, people who prefer sensual bachata, bachata influence, smooth bachata, like all of these different styles. So you have to be able to adapt to the person that you're dancing with, to the song that you're dancing to, in the amount of space that you've got to dance.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be versatile in what you're doing. And the other big thing that people don't teach is how not to lead a move, right? So when you're dancing with someone, and we've spoken about this already, like if you can feel that they're not ready to do the move, then the only way that you can carry on with the move is to force it. And we talk a lot about consent in various areas of our lives, and like consent has to apply on the dance floor as well. So if every lead is not a command, it's an invitation, it's a question.
Yeah.
I ask you, would you like to do this move? And you say yes, because you asked nicely, I will do the move. Right? So that's where, so the prep is the question, your response to the prep is the consent or denial, and then we get to actually doing the movement itself. And I think a lot of leaders get into the mindset where it's their job to move the follower, and the followers get into the mindset that it's the leader's job to move them. And neither of those are true. I'm not responsible for moving your body.
That's right.
Yeah. As a leader, I invite you to do a movement.
Everybody has a job to do.
Yeah. And you do the movement or you don't do the movement.
That's right.
You are not a fridge. I have to pick you up and carry you around the dance floor. Right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
Exactly. So, yeah, again, it's just this idea about having a conversation and co-creating and like making it more of a partnership rather than a dictatorship. I
like that. You know what else? Like slightly different etiquette-wise that I think a lot of younger teachers don't teach. I remember when I was starting to dance and then I was assisting Nikolai. He was my mentor. He prepped me for all of this. There was always a conversation between me and him, or him and other teachers that I was sitting in and listening to. And they were talking about how the night should be run. What kind of vibe do we want there? What kind of message? In classes, they would always say, okay, this is the sign that the follower is not really feeling this. This is a sign that it is. Ladies, if you don't like this, you do this. And so I've learned a lot of actually how to protect myself, what signals to give. And, you know, it's the same as leading. Okay, what is okay? What is not okay? Space, how to mind the space and, you know, make sure you don't step on one another. Like or like a stupid thing, like how to ask somebody to dance. And how to maybe make sure that after the dance, they're happy to move along and not just drop them, you know, and then just run away. So like those also kind of things, I feel like now they don't exist anymore.
No.
Which before, these are the normal conversations that we were having. That's why I was brought up with it without even thinking. But now I'm thinking about it because I don't hear it anywhere anymore.
No. like I said, like a lot of the classes nowadays, they are very heavily focused on technique. Um, and dancing is so much more than that. You have to include the music. You have to include the connections, the connection to the music, the connection to yourself, the connection to each other, not even the physical connection, but the non-physical, the trust, the empathy, the rapport, the idea of engaging with your partner. These things are even more important than the technique, because the technique, it's like trying to learn a language just by learning the words.
Yeah.
You can't do it, because you have to learn the syntax, the grammar, the inflection, the tone, the slang, the colloquialisms, everything else that is the language, which is more than just the words.
Yes. And, a lot of people, I would say also, they come in now into the scene and it's already ready for them.
Yeah.
Somebody built that friendly environment that everybody talks about. And I hear a lot of people are like, well, nobody should do this. People should do what? Like, you came in already into this environment. What do you think has just magically happened? It was built on us talking about what one should and shouldn't do. And then people being deliberately super nice to one another, because the scene was very small and we want as many people to stay as possible. So everybody were doing whatever it takes to make sure that everybody stays and we dance together and we look after each other. And then you come in and it's like, well, if I don't feel like it, you need to think about what you're leaving behind in our friendly dancing scene.
Yeah.
That's my rant of the day. Since I have a guest, let's use you. All righty. Do you agree that both men and women can lead and follow? And how do you feel about role swapping in the middle of the dance? When they do just like from one to another.
Okay, so yes, women can lead, men can follow. I'm speaking to one of the best female leads in the country.
Oh, stop it now.
Yeah. My wife also, she leads. I don't follow very well. I've tried it, but it doesn't really appeal to me. I'm much more of a leader rather than a follower. But I do, as a teacher, I've had to learn how to break down the follower's part. I understand what the follower does, because if I want to lead something, I have to understand what they're doing as a follower. So yeah, men can follow, women can lead. Role rotation within the dance, I think is fun, definitely fun. If you can do that, if you've both got the skills to lead and follow, then why not go for it?
Don't do it to me unless you ask me.
Oh yeah, no, definitely ask first.
Yeah, because it annoys me.
Yeah.
If you're my friend and this is what we do when we meet, it's different. But like, if you ask me to dance, especially if you ask me to lead you, I, as a woman who leads, I actually trying to build a story.
Yeah.
I take huge responsibility on, creating something, build up, and, I'm thinking about how to make this dance nice for you. And then you suddenly swap and you become the leader.
But again, this comes down to the sort of musicality aspect of things. Like, if you're going to swap roles randomly in the middle of the song without paying attention to where you are in the song.
Even if it makes sense in the music, it ruins my vibe.
Well, yeah.
Like, then say, would you like to dance? Do you mind if we swap in the dance?
Yeah. No, but
that's great. Then I'm mentally prepared. We are having fun.
Yeah.
But if you ask me to dance and you don't tell me, in my mind, I'm building something, and suddenly you ruin it.
No, it's like every
surprises.
Like everything, it has to be mutual.
It has to be mutual.
Like, even if you're dancing salsa and you can dance on one and on two, and you both can dance on one and on two, you're not just going to keep switching randomly in the middle of the
exactly,
because your partner's going to go like, what are we doing? We on one? We on two? You
That's
leading? You following? What? Who? Right. So it's got to be, there's got to be an understanding. So if you want to like do the role rotation in the dance, ask.
I'm probably going to say yes if I know that it's happening.
Yeah.
But if I don't know it's happening, I'll be upset.
Yeah.
All right. We're closer to the goal. The goal is the empty bowl. All right. What are the responsibilities that every teacher holds? Besides, I guess, teaching correctly the technique.
So the first responsibility is for the safety and well-being of your students.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you've got to make sure that your students are safe, the environment's safe. But becoming a teacher in the first place, I think a lot of teachers at the moment, they get into it for the wrong reasons.
Agreed.
So a lot of teachers at the moment, they get into teaching because they want to demonstrate what they know.
Yes.
And teaching is a way of them validating themselves. Whereas teaching people to dance, it's a long process.
Yes.
And it's a hard process. And it's not about doing cool things in every class.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to go through repetition, you have to go through a bit of theory, you have to go through a bit of history. So being a teacher, you have to be educated in order to educate someone else.
That's right.
And that education has to be, again, about more than movement. You have to know the history of the dance. You have to know the culture of the dance. You have to know the music. You really, really, really have to know the music. You can't teach a dance like salsa, bachata, or kizomba if you don't understand the music. Because even with bachata, the way that you move your hips in one section of the song is completely different to the way that you move your hips in a different section of the song. The way that the steps, the basic steps that you use in one part are different to the basic steps that you use in another part. So if you're just teaching moves with no context of the music, then you're not teaching dance. You're teaching moves. And you see that happening on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Because people just end up doing moves, regardless of what the music is saying to them to do. So as a teacher, you need to make sure that you are educated before you start going out and educating other people. And the other thing is to build up your skills as a teacher, because just because you're an amazing dancer doesn't mean that you're a great teacher. And the way to build up your skills is to teach locally, build up your community locally, build up your own set of students, build them up from beginners to improvers to intermediate to advanced. Like a lot of the teachers at the moment, they go straight in and they're national teachers, they're international teachers, they're teaching at festivals, they're teaching at congresses.
Teaching an advanced class is the easiest thing to do.
But they've never taught locally. They're not interested in building their local community. They want to go straight to the fame, the all expenses paid trips, that lifestyle, without doing the hard work of learning how to teach and honing those teaching skills before they go on to become a national teacher, before they go on to become an international teacher. Like being a guest teacher has a whole different level of responsibility.
That's true.
Because if you're invited somewhere to teach, you're being invited to teach there, presumably because you're offering something that the local teachers can't offer. Right.
You're there to entertain. One night only.
But again, I hate this idea of being an entertainer, right? So as a teacher, yes, you have to be engaging, you have to be entertaining, but first and foremost, you are a teacher, and then you are an entertainer.
Sure.
Not the other way around. And there are so many teachers who are entertainers first, teachers second. And does my head in, especially at congresses and festivals, right? Because like you remember it back in the day,
Yeah.
you used to go to a congress, you used to go to a festival to learn from people at the top of their game,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So you would be going to learn from like the top level teachers who had the most experience, who had the most knowledge, that they were telling you something that your local teachers couldn't give you,
Yes.
right? And it's not just about having fun in the class. Yes, you want to have fun, but it's a class, it's a workshop, it's a learning experience. It's not a piece of theatre. You go to the shows to watch the shows, to be entertained.
No way. Yeah.
But in a class, it's about education. That's what it's for. And the whole focus of workshops has just changed dramatically. People go to workshops to be entertained. And then, I don't get it.
You left with 2 pieces of paper, my sir. You're doing great. You're doing great. Okay. What is the strangest thing you have ever experienced on the dance floor in the dance scene? Like something. What is the strangest one thing that is the strangest thing that has ever happened to you? Whether professionally while you're working or just on the dance floor. One thing, the strangest of them all. Oh, I'm so excited.
Strangest or funniest?
Well, if it's whatever comes to your head that you like, this is it. This is the thing I will never forget.
Well, I've had a few strange experiences. Like
one. Give us one, but like the juiciest. Give us juiciest.
Okay, so as a DJ, right? So when I'm DJing, I like to focus on what I'm doing. I'm watching the floor. I'm reading what's going on. I'm seeing what the vibe is and everything else. But sometimes because as a DJ, I'm a captive audience. So if someone comes up and starts talking to me, then I'm stuck. I can't go anywhere. I just have to listen to them talking at me. And there was this one girl that came up and she wanted to talk to me, but she was very, very, very drunk. And she had a top that kept falling down and everything else. So she was like hanging off me. And she's dancing at me and everything else. And my wife is standing right in front of me just there.
Oh my God. What did you do? By the way, his wife can be scary.
Yeah.
Can I say that? Yeah. You don't mess with his wife.
But I was looking at this girl. I was looking at my wife. I was saying to my wife, I was like, help me here. Help. Come and help me. And you know what she did? She was laughing at me. She was just saying, you got yourself into this mess. You get yourself out of that. So yeah, that was the most awkward time for me.
Love it. My darling, this is the final question.
Better be good.
As a middle-aged man. Oh, it's a very long one.
Wow.
My God. Okay. Can you dance sensual bachata without dancing bachata moderna? And can you dance bachata moderna, sensual, without knowing Dominican?
Okay. So can you dance sensual bachata without dancing bachata moderna? No. Categorically, no. Because sensual bachata is an extension of bachata moderna. Like bachata moderna gives you the rhythm, it gives you the basic steps, it gives you the turn pattern, it gives you the frame, it gives you the connection, it gives you the handholds, right? All of that comes from bachata moderna. If you take bachata moderna and you add in the waves, the rolls, the isolations, the cambres, then you get sensual bachata. So all of those are things that were added to bachata moderna to create sensual bachata, right? Mm-hmm. So if you take out the bachata moderna is the bachata in sensual bachata. So if you take out the bachata moderna, you're just left with sensual.
Okay, so can you dance bachata moderna or sensual without knowing Dominican?
Okay, so I've had this discussion many times with people from the Dominican Republic, from Spain, from everywhere else. And to answer that question, you have to understand how bachata moderna evolved, because like Dominican bachata, it evolved in the Dominican Republic with the Dominican bachata music, right? But then when the music left the island and it went abroad, it went to places like the US, and you had bands like Aventura, and they changed the music in a way to appeal to a different audience. So they started singing in Spanglish rather than just Spanish. They started incorporating influences from other genres of music, right? And because there was no internet and there was no like YouTube or anything at that point in time, people wanted to dance to the music, but they didn't have access to the Dominican way of dancing. All they knew that it was step, 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 tap, right? Step, 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 tap is like common across all Latin dances, right? So they took what they knew and they applied it to the bachata rhythm. So that is a separate dance that evolved in relation to the music in parallel to Dominican bachata. But since then, and now that information is more accessible, the dances have started to come together. So there is more Dominican influence in Moderna. And even it goes the other way, but not so much, right? But there is more of a Dominican influence in Central Bachata. And even when you talk to like Corky and Judith, they've included whole sections on Dominican history, Dominican culture, Dominican music within the Central Bachata teaching syllabus. So they started separately to the same music, but they've converged over time. So there is no real yes or no answer to that question. If you are expressing the rhythms of bachata in your dance, when the music is expressing the rhythms of bachata in the music, you are dancing bachata, in my opinion.
I was so quiet and focused because never have I ever thought of it from that perspective of the music, and never have I ever. You just blew my mind. And do you know how many conversations I have had about this topic? Many. Like, seriously. But this is the first time I hear it said in that kind of way.
Yeah.
Amazing.
But it's true, because like when people were dancing to Aventura in places like Spain, in Europe, in the USA, they didn't have access to Dominican teachers. They didn't have access to the Dominican knowledge, the Dominican way of doing things. So they invented their own dance to bachata music. But it was still, people have this like thing that say, because it's not the same dance as Dominican, you have to call it something different, right? But if you take one step back, bachata evolved from bolero, right? So bolero, Dominican Republic. Before that, there was a dance called bolero.
Yes.
From Spain.
Yes, and from Cuba. Son as well.
And from Spain, right? The dance that came from Spain predated Cuban bolero by 100 years.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So you have two dances called the same thing, bolero, which are completely different. But now the people that are dancing this bolero say that you can't call it bachata because it's a different dance.
Yeah.
So you can have two different dances of the same name. It's not a problem, especially when those two dances are danced to the same genre of music. Yeah. And they're expressing the same rhythms in different ways, but they're expressing the same rhythms. So, yeah. What I find is a lot of people, they're either very much in the sort of traditional mindset, or they're very much in the evolution mindset.
Mhm.
And I think the truth of what is bachata is somewhere in the middle.
Mhm.
So, yeah. And for me, that question is always answered by the music.
Mhm.
Because if the music can incorporate influences from R&B, from tango, from hip hop, and still retain its bachata identity, then why can't they dance?
I love when you speak. Guys, I don't know about you, but even me in this moment, I'm like, say what? You are amazing middle-aged teacher for sure. Yeah, we have an empty bowl. At some point, I could talk to you forever, but this has to end. But I just want, before we say goodbyes, I just want myself to tell you that I appreciate you so much. I know what you bring to the scene, and I always talk to people um, about how important you are to us. And I know I told you as well, like we talked about so many different things about social media, this and that. And I just feel like you are a voice that actually has some knowledge, and it has to be expressed, and you have to keep talking, and you have to keep writing, and you have to keep teaching, because you have something to offer. And also, I know for a fact that whether it's wrong, right, or whatever, it always comes from the best place in your heart,
Yeah.
which is the most important thing. So I appreciate you. And I really appreciate you coming over and actually sharing some of your knowledge with this audience.
Can I say something about you before we finish?
I'm going to get really shy. Unless it's bad.
Because I want to tell you guys that I think that Rasa is possibly one of the best role models for followers that we have in the UK. Because not only does she follow everything, she also knows how to take responsibility and agency for herself as a dancer on the dance floor. So even though she can follow everything, she won't put up with crap from anyone on the dance floor. And she knows how to do it in a nice way, right? So that she doesn't annoy the people that she's dancing with, right? So understanding how to take care of yourself as a follower on the dance floor is a really important skill that followers need to learn. And I think you should definitely do more to teach that.
Thank you very much. Now, is there anything that you would like to promote while we're here?
Yeah, I mean, there's loads of festivals coming up. We've got an event called London Central Days coming up. They're bringing Marco and Sarah, Gabby and Estefi, Yanis and Zoe, and Pinto Picasso for a concert right here in London. Yeah, so that's going to be amazing. We've got another festival called Latin Notion coming up as well. And I don't know how he's done it, but he's basically brought every single artist in the UK to one festival. And like, it's going to be amazing. That's going to be cool. And then we have all the UK festivals as well. We have the Duke Festival coming up. We have Motion City, and especially in coming up, we have Mambo City. And Mambo City, the 5-Star Congress, is going to be really important because it's potentially their last edition at this venue. And it's been running for like 21 years or something. So if you can get to that festival, it's going to be amazing. And then lastly, but not least, we have an amazing dance holiday called Bosco's to Mallorca. So
I have a lot of people, actually, my students that went, and they had the best time.
Yeah.
And actually, the age range is phenomenal as well. Like, you have such a good mix of age range.
Yeah, and it's not like a festival or a congress. It is literally it's a dance holiday. It's all inclusive, one hotel,
drinks included as well.
Gets messy.
It gets messy.
But yeah, no, it's a great party, and we always have a really nice bunch of artists there who are like really interested in social dancing and everything else. So yeah,
Brilliant.
there's plenty to look forward to in the UK.
Now, what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to link everything in the bio as much as I possibly can find. And of course, I'm going to link, most importantly, some details from Pierre Henry. So if you want to find him, book him, whether for DJing or teaching, or maybe even playing some instruments, I don't know, you got to talk to him. You're going to find it all in the link down below. And now, let's all say thank you and goodbye, Pierre. And hopefully we can do this again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, we hugging. I almost fell on him. If you're his wife, I'm sorry.
It's okay. She's used to it.
Yes, with that woman, we'll never forget that story. Guys, thank you so much, and we will see you very soon.
Cool. Thank you.
Bye.